There's potential breaking news for the uranium sector. President Biden is considering calling for a national emergency on climate change. Now, this will help the president and the executive branch push the Defense Production Act. Now, the DPA, Defense Production Act, gives the executive branch a lot more power. Now, in this, they can bolster U.S. domestic supply. And what we're really looking at is the enrichment and production side for the U.S. We know that Biden administration has already been pushing a $4.3 billion U.S. enrichment funding. And this is going to be really, really nice for the uranium sector. The Biden administration, Reuters broke this, is considering calling for this climate change. Now, the move came after 2 U.S. Senate Democrats urged Biden to declare this climate emergency to use the DPA. Now, the U.S. really wants to end this dependence on, importing not just uranium, but these rare earths. And this actually was out yesterday. We're starting to see this really push through the government. So the Defense Production Act really gives that executive branch and the president more power because, as you know, these bills a lot of times take a lot of time to go through the Senate and the House. So this way, it's a lot more fast track. So it's very positive, obviously, for uranium if this happens. And the biggest thing in the DPA is to bolster domestic production. The president may also offer loans or loan guarantees to companies subject to appropriation by Congress, make purchases or purchase commitments, and install equipment in government or private factories. Companies can also be authorized to coordinate with each other, which might otherwise violate antitrust laws. And as you know, a lot of the uranium sector, there's so many laws and antitrust laws, things of that nature, especially because there's not just low enriched uranium, but we have high enriched, which is obviously for national defense purposes, these nuclear reactors in a lot of the ships. So it is very important. Now, we don't have pretty much any uranium production right now, and we haven't really. So this is going to really help that renaissance. Now, we've seen President Biden invoke the DPA to accelerate domestic manufacturing of clean energy. This was back in June. So what this does, there was about 5 things that the president was looking to push, and this was for solar, transformers and electric grid components, heat pumps, insulation, and electrolyzers, fuel cells. Okay, so this was something that didn't really include uranium, didn't really include U.S. enrichment. But obviously that is very important. And we've seen a couple days later, DOE announces actions to bolster domestic supply chain of advanced batteries. This was on June 8th. So this is very big. Then we've seen Rosen applauds $56 million investment to advanced solar manufacturing and lower energy costs. So this was Jackie Rosen, the senator of Nevada. So we've seen money starting to come in right after this. This very quickly that this one was enacted and that we saw things happen. So this was another article. Biden is preparing executive action on climate change after Manchin sinks legislative approach. So as we know, Senator Manchin, there's a lot, right now there's a lot going on. And there's a lot of bills, not just for U.S. enrichment, but we're wanting to wean ourselves off that Russian supply.
And I said, Chuck, can we just wait until the inflation figures come out in July, until basically the Fed rate, the reserve, are they going to raise interest? How much more and how much damaging is that going to be? And then make a decision what we can do and how much we can do. He took that as no, I guess, and came out with this big thing last night. And I don't know why they did that. I guess they try to put pressure on me, but they've been doing that for over a year now. It doesn't make any sense at all. And as far as I'm concerned, I want climate. I want an energy policy. Here's the problem they have. I want an energy policy basically, and the only way I understand, if you're going to get the price of gasoline down and the world is demanding more fossil everywhere in the world, is that we need to produce more. The whole world's in flux right now. So the only thing the United States can do is if we want to decarbonize, then we want to produce more fossil, cleaner than anyone in the world, and replace the dirty fossil that's going into the atmosphere now. Also, what you can do is invest in the cleaner technologies that we know that will work. Geothermal, small nuclear reactors. I'm all for that.
And this is, I think, the fastest way to really get that U.S. production going. It's the most important to get enrichment because this stuff takes a long time to get enrichment and uranium production going. Now, this is going to be very positive. So President Joe Biden said last week that he would take strong executive action on climate.
Senator Schumer, according to what you're saying, Senator Schumer says we need to act before the end of July. And you're saying, I don't want to act that quickly because we got the new inflation numbers, see what the Fed's going to do. We don't have to do this until the end of the fiscal year, federal fiscal year, end of September. So we have more time. So let's wait and see what the inflation number is for the next month and for what the Fed does.
You're on the right track. Here's the thing. Inflation was 8.8% the month before, correct? We were told that it was going to go down.
I thought it was 9.1, but anyway, whatever. It's high.
No, it was at 8.8 before.
Okay.
Now it went to 9.1, so it went up.
Yeah.
Now they're saying that's not accurate.
You want more production. You don't want to put a heavy hand on fossil fuels. You want decarbonization, those kinds of things. You want permitting reforms. You want those. You don't want to see carbon fuel starved. So were you all close at all on climate legislation, which would seem to me like the biggest holdup between you and some other Democrats? Were you close at all on the energy front?
I've got to be honest with you. We were moving in a very, very productive, very good, I think, position.
Now, today, uranium stocks are doing very well. We're seeing UEC about 4%, well above that trend line that I've had for a long time. We're seeing Denison Mines about 8%. The NASDAQ's up 2% right now. So obviously, we've been yoked. Cameco's almost at 4%. Energy Fuels about 6%. And as always, the technicals, in my opinion, we're bouncing off. They're very oversold. We're bouncing off this trend line. A lot of these look the same. Cameco looks very similar. And as I've said before, Energy Fuels and say Denison, very similar as well. And remember, we usually trade as a pack. Usually see UEC running ahead of the pack once things get going. I think this is going to be very big for the uranium sector this week, especially if we get something like that. The president enacting the DPA, and this will probably push that 4.3 billion very fast. Now, we've seen UK gas still go up. As I said a couple days ago, that I think that this is going to continue to go back up, and it is. Obviously, issues with Russia. Uranium, I think, should be well in the mid-50s pretty soon. But with that NEI meeting happening today, I think that's going to help push a lot of these things that have been sitting stagnant for a while. As always, it takes the government a lot of time to get those bills out and passed. But the thing is, with the DPA, the president is going to be able to pretty much fast track everything very quickly. So this is very positive for the uranium sector. I am excited to see if this is going to happen. Let me know below, guys. Do you think that this is actually going to happen? Is the administration going to be able to get that $4.3 billion for U.S. enrichment? And what's it going to do to uranium stocks? In my opinion, I really do think that we're going to see new 11-year highs across the board for a lot of these uranium producers. We did see Cameco and UEC hit those 11-year highs just recently, so it is very possible. If you guys like these updated videos, let me know below, and until next time.